Machiavellians, lean in and picture yourself chained to a life of obedience, trained like a house pet to sit, stay, and never question the hand that feeds you. You've been taught to hold your spot, to wag your tail for scraps, to accept the leash without a second thought. Out here, though, where only the strong survive, leashes are for sheep. You're either prowling with the wolves or you're part of the herd. Submission might look safe on paper, but it's really a slow ticket to obscurity. The wolf doesn't beg, doesn't bow, doesn't flinch. He watches, waits, then strikes without warning and never averts his gaze. So ask yourself, will you keep scrounging for leftovers from those who trained you to obey? Or will you break down the fence and unleash the force buried beneath your quiet? Let's drop the niceties. Nobody hands out gold stars for good behavior. Whether you hustle sunup to sundown or settle for crumbs thrown your way, no one's cheering your compliance. In the harsh game of power, the tamed pup, obedient, eager for scraps, locked in the corner, gets devoured first. You've got two roles to play, predator or prey. If you don't bare your teeth, you'll be eaten, and nobody's shedding a tear over it. While you wait for someone to notice your good manners, others are out taking what they want. The system wasn't built to shield you, it was built to harvest your effort. How long will you fall for the myth that effort alone equals success? Grinding without a plan is just running on a hamster wheel. You sweat, but you stay in place. The world admires rule breakers who know what they're doing, because deep down the only players who win are the ones who reshape the game. Imagine trudging through the corporate slog for years, checking every box, following every instruction, and then watching someone bolder, someone less qualified, swoop in and claim the prize. Why? Because action beats patience every time. That's the harsh truth most of us are too polite to learn. Patience without aggression is just another way to lose. Here's what they don't want you to see. The system demands you stay frozen, eyes glued to the floor, afraid to step out of line. Meanwhile, the wolves craft their own arenas, write their own rules, build their empires from scratch. Ask yourself how many times you've been overlooked, how many times someone else sprinted past while you remained chained by fear. That's no accident. The gears of power turn smoothly when workers are scared, predictable, and locked in routine. You might feel safe in your corner, but that security is a lie. When you're no longer useful, they'll toss you aside without warning. Everything you thought was guaranteed, your job, your status, your paycheck, can vanish overnight. Only then will you realize that, while you were settling in, the wolf was feasting on the spoils you left behind. They prefer you terrified, constantly looking over your shoulder, afraid of every misstep, because a compliant dog is easy to command. Wolves, on the other hand, dominate the landscape in silence. Here's the bitter confession: the stability you chase doesn't exist. A secure job can disappear with a memo. A mortgage can turn into a debt trap. Savings can evaporate in a market crash. Everything you hold as solid is actually a wager on chaos. And while you hedge your bets, the wolves are already seizing tomorrow. Picture yourself in a forest, the damp ground under your paws, your master's heel pressing down on your back, forcing you to pant for scraps. In the shadows, the wolf circles, calm, patient, unfettered by permission or expectation. You're nothing but a fading outline against his sharp silhouette. Which side of the fence will you choose, the wolves or the herds? It's more than just how you stand, it's how you think. The wolf knows that nothing worth having ever comes freely. He hunts, he fights, he risks everything. The dog scrabbles for crumbs, convinced that begging is smarter than breaking free. But safety is a gilded cage. True power thrives in chaos, because chaos is where everything changes. Every second you hesitate, the wolves are claiming territory that could have been yours. They don't wait for ideal conditions, they create them. If you want to survive, and more than that, if you want to thrive, you need to learn to do the same. Most people get the wolf all wrong. He isn't heartless, he's strategic. He's fierce because he understands that kindness without backbone gets you devoured. He balances mercy with ferocity, never taking without reason but never allowing anyone to take from him. Independent, resilient, self-made, that creed is your next lesson. Adopt it, live it every day. Nobody ever admits it, but the system hates strong, free thinkers. It wants you trapped in routine, terrified of tomorrow, convinced that safety lies in obedience. Those invisible bars are so familiar you don't even notice them, and yet they're choking you. You think you're free, but freedom isn't a gift. It's something you grab with clenched fists. Consider this: the biggest risk is doing nothing. So many dream of starting something bold, businesses, projects, moves that change lives, but never take the leap. The system taught you that risk is shameful, failure a scarlet letter. But the cruelest failure is the one you never attempt. They want you to fear falling because the untested never topple the status quo. They fear your potential because your rise chips away at their control. Imagine the nightmare for any power structure when someone they've trained walks away and builds something better on their own terms. That's the whole reason they groom you to depend, to settle, to accept mediocrity. Here's the secret they don't advertise. True power means owing nothing to anyone. When you answer to no one, you can't be pressured. You set your own rules. You build your own reality. That terrifies them. Look at the figures who changed everything. Catherine the Great didn't wait for her inheritance. She seized the throne. Harriet Tubman didn't plead for freedom. She risked everything to grab it. Steve Jobs was ousted from his own company before he built it into a giant. Elon Musk stared down bankruptcy and kept going. Oprah fought prejudice and poverty on her own terms. None of them followed the rulebook. They broke it in pieces. They didn't wait for a green light. They shone their own. They failed, sometimes spectacularly, but each setback fueled their next move. Use those stories as your blueprint. Treat failure as feedback, not a tombstone. Build your own networks. Design audacious plans. Refuse to break under pressure. Be a wolf among sheep. Shed the fatal flaw of the house pet, mistaking comfort for freedom. Comfort is a trap that erodes your drive, dulls your edge, and makes you replaceable. The system sells you smallness as safety, but smallness kills any chance of greatness. Real comfort lies in self-reliance, creating something that no one can take from you. The wolf knows his worth, doesn't beg for approval. Being a wolf isn't cruelty, it's authenticity, resilience, vision. It means accepting that the world gives nothing, and realizing you have the power to build everything. It means pressing on when the path is rough, because real rest comes after the storm. So start by mapping your own territory. Who holds sway in your circle? Which connections can you leverage? Reach out not with flattery, but with strategic give and take. Offer value they crave, and form alliances rooted in shared hunger, not blind loyalty to comfort. A true wolf doesn't just lay claim to territory, he offers protection, resources, and sharp insight to those he chooses to stand beside him. When you bind others to your cause, when they depend on you for guidance, for shelter, for the information they can't find anywhere else, your own power grows exponentially. That circle of allies becomes your pride, each member committed to reinforcing the group's strength. Machiavelli taught that a ruler's real authority springs not from inherited rank, but from the unwavering loyalty he inspires. Yet alliances come with their own risks. If you mishandle a partnership, it can snap back and wound you. Deception is part of a wolf's skill set. Show only what you must, keep the rest hidden until the moment you need to reveal your full force. Never flash all your teeth at once. Let rivals underestimate your reach. While they're busy misreading your moves, you'll sow discord in their ranks, laying the groundwork so that, when you finally strike, each blow secures your position and leaves your adversaries scrambling in confusion. To truly transform yourself, you need a daily ritual that cements your predator's mindset. Begin before dawn, silence your phone, step away from distractions, and focus with ruthless clarity on what lies ahead. Spend time each morning meditating on your most ambitious goals, not with passive reflection, but with fierce intent. Confront a small fear every day. Maybe it's voicing an unpopular opinion, or pushing yourself to learn a new skill you've been avoiding. Keep a journal, but don't fill it with feelings. Document your planned tactics, the contacts you'll approach, the resources you'll secure, and the boundaries you'll dismantle. Let every entry pulse with purpose until hesitation feels unnatural, almost abhorrent. You're not just rewriting your identity, you're forging it in the heat of disciplined action. Fear will stalk your path like a shadow at dusk, but you can turn that dread into kinetic fuel. When your chest tightens and your mind races with what-ifs, lean into the discomfort. Let it remind you of the stakes you've set for yourself. Higher risks sharpen your instincts and harden your resolve. When you fail, and you will, greet that moment as evidence that you dared far more than the timid masses. Celebrate each stumble as proof you took action, and savor every triumph as confirmation you're carving out your supremacy. A domesticated pet hides from mistakes. The wolf advances into them, knowing each scar is a badge of survival. Don't be fooled by those around you resisting your rise. Friends, family, even well-meaning colleagues will try to tether you back to the safe routines they understand. They'll label your drive as obsession, your standards as unrealistic, your ambition as unnecessary. That's just the herd's instinct to defend its perimeter. When someone attempts to leash you with criticism or guilt, sever that tie without remorse. Every relationship that demands your conformity is a chain dragging you toward insignificance. True autonomy means mastering every resource at your disposal, and that goes beyond money. Cultivate secrets, gather inside information, and stay voracious in your reading and listening. Overhear conversations not meant for you, identify gaps in knowledge within your sphere, and position yourself where others must come to you for insight. Your mind becomes a larder of valuable intelligence, and reputation alone will draw in opportunities. As your hunger for power grows, narrow your focus until you identify the single arena where your impact can be most devastating. This is your niche, an overlooked corner of the field where competitors are complacent. Commit your capital, your hours, and your network to dominating that space. Press on until your name is inseparable from excellence in that domain. When rivals see you succeeding where they've ignored, they'll either fall in line behind you or fade into obscurity. But raw power without a higher aim is empty. Define the legacy you intend to leave, a venture that redefines industry standards, a movement that upends cultural norms, a body of work so influential that future generations build upon it. Machiavelli didn't romanticize virtue, he lauded effectiveness, and he knew that architects of systems outlast mere footnotes. Even the fiercest wolves know that rest is part of the hunt. Schedule times when you disengage completely. No screens, no emails, no obligations. In those interludes, you reconnect with your primal instincts, your raw creativity, your unfiltered vision, your untamed drive. These retreats recharge your batteries so you can return to the fray with renewed intensity and focus. And as you grow, look for someone else ready to step into the wild. Mentoring a rising wolf refines your own mastery while expanding your influence. Share the lessons hammered into you during your darkest hours, when you faced collapse alone, when every step felt like it could be your last. By guiding others through their first battles, you ensure that the forest stays ruled by the bold, not the broken. Power is performance as much as policy. Practice unpredictable generosity, dispersing favors and resources so that each act of kindness catches recipients off guard. They'll owe you gratitude woven with uncertainty, and that indebtedness binds them closer than loyalty ever could. At the same time, hone the currency of information. Knowledge is an invisible blade that slices through alliances at a distance. Catalog people's hidden ambitions, regrets, and debts in your mind, and deploy that intelligence sparingly but surgically. Drop a rumor, hint at a scandal, or elevate one under someone else's nose. Your knowledge of their secrets will keep them off balance, unsure whether to trust you or fear you. Understand the power of the sacrificial pawn. In chess, one pawn's fall can clear a path for the queen. Identify someone whose removal will terrify the rest into obedience, whether it's a trusted lieutenant or a public champion of your rivals, and remove them swiftly and quietly. A quiet reassignment or a sudden accusation of disloyalty will send a clear message: challenge me, and you risk everything. Cruelty deployed without excess and wielded with purpose commands respect through the threat of further punishment. Humiliation is another weapon in your arsenal. Publicly expose an opponent at a moment they least expect, interrupt their triumph, confront their core belief with your own unshakable display of dominance, or force them into a debate you've already mastered. The sting of shame lingers far longer than any blade, and it will make them reconsider every future gesture of defiance. Keep your deepest moral compromises hidden. Machiavelli advised that a ruler must appear virtuous while acting otherwise. Bury your secret deeds beneath layers of plausible deniability. Speak kind words to the masses, but let your covert actions remain unseen. In private, refine your ethics into tools. Weaponize guilt, simulate remorse, and wear virtue as armor. The world needs a hero to revere, even if that hero executes crossbow orders at dawn. When crisis hits, economic collapse, scandal, or any threat to the status quo, step into the breach. People yearn for bold leadership when the foundation seems secure. Decisive action feels terrifying. Use the crisis to dismantle obstacles in your path, to replace key players under the guise of emergency, or to rally followers around a common target. Crisis is the stage for your greatest dramas, and you must both write the script and cast the actors. Finally, master the art of regeneration. True power survives defeat. When a plan flops, an ally betrays you, or a policy backfires, don't retreat into shame. Instead, re-emerge in a new guise, a contrite negotiator, a visionary reformer, or a wounded survivor. Adapt your strategy to the new environment, learn from your wounds, and let opponents grow complacent while you plot your next move. Then, when the moment is ripe, reveal your recovery as an inevitable triumph. This is the Machiavellian way, a dance of shadows and steel where kindness is feigned, cruelty is calculated, and ambition is insatiable. You are not merely playing a role on power's stage, you are its playwright, its director, and its lead actor. Let every gesture, every interaction, every sacrifice serve your grand design. And remember that with these principles in your claws, no throne is beyond reach, no fortress too strong, and no rival too mighty to tumble before your strike.